now starting?
I am now starting. And I'm avoiding the legal snag by telling you I'm starting.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you let me know we were starting so that I didn't call the cops.
Yeah, don't do that. Welcome back once again to this week's podcast, which this week will be brought to you by Kimchi Dreams and Y'all Kata.
This week is also brought to you by Dry Homes and Bootleg Seamless.
I am your host, Madison.
I'm your other host, Jesse James. I got a lot of drinks. I finished a drink just so I didn't have quite so many drinks to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But what's more important is I'm going to bust into these shrimp chips.
Ooh, shrimp chips. Shrimp chips. That's exciting.
Yep, they smell like shrimp in there.
Yeah. Are they shaped like shrimp too?
Like that. Not really. They got that vague. Get it against
flavor.
Something dark. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. That's pretty pleasing. I love a good shrimp chip.
Yep. They are quite good. So since our last podcast, there's been some events. Is my understanding that we're both
some failed coup attempts. Some really bad ones.
We're both maybe a little not underprepared exactly, because saying that we're underprepared for this podcast would be a bizarre thing to say. But I have spent a lot of my week being either very tired or making dumb shit. Most of that dumb shit I can't show. One thing I can show is this goop. There is a story behind the goop. And that story is, I had a bunch of oranges, and it was too many to eat before the time lapsed on these oranges.
Yes.
So let me go ahead and send you a little photo montage. How's your food situation over there?
So my mukbang portion of this mukbang is going to consist of another one of the caramels that I've been having with my friends because there's so many. And I'm just kind of being a squirrel today. This is just an assortment of nuts that I found in the kitchen.
Are those candied, some of them?
Yes. So some of them, I think these are pecans. And these are candied. My mom got them from a friend. These almonds are smoked and salted.
Now is your bed.
Mm-hmm. And these are the chocolate-covered sea salt ones from Trader Joe's.
Okay, those are the thick ones I saw sitting in there.
Yeah, look at that. That's like a good solid nugget of goodness. So
that is the appropriate kind of food for a conversational leftist mukbang.
It is, but perhaps the most appropriate portion of this is my tea that I have put vodka inside of. So Yep.
Good. A nice healthy-sized mug full of vodka is always a good idea.
I thought it would pair well with today's discussion.
Yeah.
So it's the tangerine tea, and I had that ginger vodka, so it's a little tangerine ginger situation.
What level of tea experimentation are you down with when
it
comes to
down.
Tea flavors? Okay.
Pretty down.
I think we're about a week out from, so like two episodes out from you receiving a box of things. And among those, potentially useful, like a microphone, things like that. But maybe more useful in, life is some odd tea that is very hard to find.
Have you told me about this before? This sounds vaguely familiar.
Probably not since the podcast. I have a tea that I really like that is a Chinese produced tea that is cola flavored.
Oh.
That is like drinking a ghost of a Coca-Cola, which is the only way I would want to drink Coca-Cola. So
Yeah, that sounds really good. I'm excited for that.
yeah.
Oh, I have received your images.
Yes. So the story of the goop is best told in
Ooh.
images, but obviously people out here will mostly get the audio version, which is I had a bunch of oranges, so I chopped them up and I reduced them in the juice and then just mashed them into a orange peel and orange pith slurry that I have in a large empty pickle jar in the fridge. But the drink that I make with it is what I wanted to share. So you start with this is like 4 spoonfuls of very coating orange goop, and then I jam some cinnamon in there, and then I jam a little of this cayenne in there.
Nice.
And then, importantly, I jam a little bit of this in there. just
a smidge.
Just to taste. Just a little action. And then go ahead and fill this up a little. That's probably good. It's not an exact science, but I do suggest using one of these things to really get in there.
Yeah.
Let's get some.
That's nice.
Wet buzzsaw. That's how it'll go. There. Get that nice and
excellent. Very good.
It will get tons of junk stuck in this, so I like to just let it dry and then get it out of there. But this stuff is pretty good. It has a lot of pulp though, because it is whole oranges. So I did remember to do this. It's not based on a mistake, but it was definitely needs more cayenne in it maybe, but I'm not going to dump it in unmixed where it's just going to sit on top. Yeah. I did start off by just drinking it straight, which, as you might imagine, it has a lot of chunks that taste exactly like an orange peel, which I like, but it does have a certain thickness to it that you might find unpleasant. So I would suggest thinning it and adding stuff to it for just flavor's sake. I wouldn't add sugar, but I would add a little bit when you reduce it just to like help with everything else.
The bitter peel taste.
Oh, I actually just fucked up. I'll be right back in a second.
Oh, okay. Well, in the meantime, I will provide some nut ASMR. Nut ASMR. Please no one ever clip that and put it somewhere that it shouldn't be. Okay, here we go. Oh. I'm doing some nut ASMR to
I didn't want to miss the show.
That's a pretty good nut.
Weirdly, I feel like you can hear a nut that's been candied.
Probably. It's pretty, like, crunchy.
Kind of tinny sounding compared to a regular raw nut. So I guess this is also a thing I'm doing. I prematurely got through the alcohols that I had to show off.
What?
Weirdly.
Why?
But I did get some holiday gifted Spring Heel Jack coffee.
Ooh.
So I've got a few more flavors of this. I'll go through on the next few episodes. This is the Spring Heel Jack Reanimator blend. So I'm giving this a shot. Just pretend I didn't take a sip of it before I went and got the package.
Okay. We'll scrub it.
Wait, can I get a sip on here?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that that's an audio people want to hear, but it's good. This one I'm making first. My full review of the coffee. It's good. I'm drinking this one first because when it got to me from the person who gifted it, it had a hole in the back, so it's degassed. So it like you want the gas out of the coffee, but you want it to have a valve to keep the gas out and not have air in. So I can't really judge too much on this, but if this were a coffee at, say, a cafe that didn't care much or a diner, I would be very into it. It's sort of a... I don't know. I can't tell if it's lost flavor or not. So it's not a very strong coffee either way. Like it's got the taste of being roasted, but it doesn't have a lot of like notes of anything.
Interesting. What is it called again?
Reanimator. Yeah. It's Spring Heel Jack is the company. I would say, other than it not being interesting coffee, it's actually pretty good. Like I would rank this above most of the Starbucks beans you can buy. Maybe save for the Costa Rican that they put out once in a while. Some of their like limited run Costa Rica coffees are pretty good. This is not quite as good as that, but it's much better made than most of their stuff. If you want a barometer for coffee drinking. I also have this, which is Baja Blast. Also has sake.
Excellent. That's a good mixture.
It's a very good mixture. It tastes too good in a way that is troubling. If you ever want to throw some of this action into something and have it be like you can taste it, but it's the best taste you can maybe get out of it, just drink a third of a Baja Blast and then fill it most of the way back up, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, Baja Blast is a very good option when it comes to making horrible mistakes.
Yeah, maybe the most dangerous road soda mixer you can find is a Baja Blast.
Yeah. Personal favorite, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I did manage to watch like a season and a half of Schitt's Creek this week.
Oh, nice.
So that happened because I needed to like... This week was a good week to like not have your phone on and just sort of do something else.
Yeah.
It was also a good week for like virtually implanting yourself into chicken farms or any number of other activities that you can try to make work while you're quarantined in our cool country.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any news this week though. Did you have any like
yeah,
big events?
Not a lot. Not a whole lot happened. Nothing of note.
That's good.
Uh-huh.
I also like that the Capitol building riot happened like the day, like the afternoon after we recorded.
I know. Yeah.
It was very like, I guess we gotta live this whole week trying to be halfway interesting human beings in this country.
It felt like an extra long week for that reason. And I always have trouble remembering when things happened anyway. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how surprised were you by this happening?
What's your maximum surprise number? 10?
10.
2? Maybe? Maybe because like the last week leading up to this, they were saying we're gonna storm the Capitol building.
Mm-hmm.
That might be part of why it wasn't very surprising. You think that like some of the animosity towards U.S. citizens who try to get health care or something might be focused on the people who try to like forcefully overthrow the government, but apparently not. That's reading some reports from black DC police who were guarding, and the amount of like N-words and shit that were thrown at them, and just the cool shit that happened around all of those events really paints a picture of people not wanting to stop it enough for it to have any sort of real opposition either.
Mm-hmm.
The police in the DC police saying that they had requested that there be more people because they were themselves reading Facebook like invite stuff to this.
Why? I wonder why that could be. Could it possibly be because the Venn diagram of people who go to Trump rallies and police is a circle? Could that be it?
So one of the I see if I still have that open. There was an article in, I think it's a BuzzFeed article. I think so, yeah. So they talked to some of the police who were in like that area in the Capitol building zone for that day, and among the things that happened were people who had their personal police badges with them in the crowd that were trying to tell the DC police, hey, you should let us through, we're police. Still not dressed as police, like clearly there as like protesters initially. And their idea for getting into the Capitol building was to say, hey, you agree with us, right? Here's our police badge. Let us go in, which is not surprising. That's maybe a 1 on the surprising-o-meter. And also a 1 on the surprising-o-meter is that there were a decent handful of people who seemed to be or said they were ex-military there, which of course there were. Like, we need what I think it was Donald Sutherland's "fuck the army" thing. I'm just thinking about because I was reminded of that. We need people like that again to do things that are more forward-facing events about how we should not be militarized in all of these various ways.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if people can't tell, somewhat unrelated, we had some adjustments at the apartment that I'm in, and my lighting is all weird now. So that'll get fixed over time, but for now, I'm just going to have my skin be the same color as everything else in this room.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's still doable. So I guess for anyone who is like has kind of blocked out this whole thing, maybe we should give a little summary of not the consequences, because there were almost none. There are a few by now, but the outcomes of the protest. So first of all, I think 5 people are dead.
Yeah, I think that's the number. Before you go through this, do you have a fan or something running?
It's my computer.
Okay. Just want to check. If it's a computer, then obviously that's going to need to stay on.
Yeah, I'll see if I can quit any of these extra background things I got going on.
Your computer sounds sick.
It's not doing super hot, but okay, that should make it better. I was running a lot of stupid things I didn't need to.
Well, you were just finishing up work when we got on this call, so
yeah.
there's a not insignificant buzz on your end, but it's also not the worst. It just kind of sounds like you're slightly sci-fiing over there, which isn't like having some things that we may have recorded at the beginning with a fan that I think I had running that shouldn't have. I don't know. I'll have to check our first episode to see if that's real or not.
We'll see, but it should go away shortly. I closed a couple things and then I unplugged my charging cord because it doesn't need to be charging right now. So that should subside.
Okay.
Hopefully.
No problem. People don't come here for the impeccable quality. So I'm not
if you came for the quality audio, you should... This is not my mic. You should fuck off.
So, yeah, I think it's still 5 dead was the number. I think there were more. I think there was technically 6 because I think one of the police committed suicide.
Seriously?
Why don't you start and I'm going to check on that because that is what I had heard most recently, but I don't want to say that and have it be fake.
Yeah, I don't have like a real breakdown of the individuals. I know that the first person, I guess, maybe the first person was the woman who got shot by a police officer there. I don't remember her name, but she was like a Air Force vet or something, deeply into QAnon shit. So, as a lot of them are.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other deaths I know was a police officer who literally got beat to eventual death with a flag, and just people doing that.
That's the cop who died there.
He died later.
Right.
Yeah, but yes.
I think it was a flag and or fire extinguisher. I don't remember what I remember. What I heard.
It was just like some mob beating, essentially. Yeah. So I think what happened to him is he ended up having like a brain bleed or something of that variety, and he died at the station. And then I don't know much about the other 3, or possibly 4.
I know one of them was a trampling death. A woman died when they were like moving into the Capitol. And a guy hit himself with his own taser and his heart failed.
Yeah.
So that accounts for 2. I don't know on the other. The woman who was shot, who was also like in the past a police officer, apparently.
I don't know if she was maybe. I know she was an Air Force veteran. Okay. I don't know about the police officer part.
I'll check that too, because we're still we live in a very propaganda heavy country, so checking is always a good idea.
But if anyone's coming here for their news, like fact check news, you should probably stop that right about now.
I have bad news for you. When I type woman into a search engine, she comes up first.
Just woman?
Just the word woman brings her up. I have not been searching for her. But you know.
There we go. She's the woman of the hour/week/2 weeks.
I guess.
But yeah, so other outcome/consequence ? Is that Trump has been permanently suspended from Twitter. I think not semi-permanently, but like temporarily suspended from Instagram and Facebook. I don't know what's going on there, but Twitter, once he put up his video thing, where I think he had a couple of quotes basically saying, he did tell people to go home. It was late for him to do this. It was like after the fact. He waited too long to say anything because he wanted this to happen, obviously. And in the video that he put up, he told people to go home, but he also essentially condoned what they were doing in, I don't know, other words, fewer words. But Twitter took that down and then permanently banned his account. And then he jumped onto his alt, which is the POTUS account. And then they quickly shut that down as well. So if anyone knows what Trump's burner account is, you should let me know, because I'd like to.
Yeah.
I would like to be in on that.
Jesus. I'm sure he will have accounts everywhere that will let him have accounts, but that's very few places at this point. And I know the people, or the guy who owns Parler, has been on various places complaining about being censored / like victimized by other tech companies because they're not giving space for him to keep Parler going properly. I don't know. That I have mixed feelings on too, because like I've heard this has been a big week for talking people down off of their like eye for an eye bullshit. I feel like that's been a real like tough thing this week.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably actually what has made me the most tired, is all of the conversations about like not civility. Like, I don't give a shit about civility. I care about like treating people like people. Like, that's the whole point of things like getting healthcare, is not treating people like they're like undeserving of living, but also not putting them in a position where they're trying to overthrow the US government because they want to keep a dictator, which is also all of the weird rumor shit coming out of the right wing, like I don't even know what to call it, like anarcho-Christian far right. All of their stuff is very like trying to pin all of the events on agitators from the left, which is incredibly weird. But
did you see the so after they reconvened and kind of got the situation sort of under control, Matt Gaetz, who I don't know a lot about other than he's a shithead,
professional piece of shit, Matt Gaetz,
he got up and like hours, not even probably hours after this happened, or was, finishing up, he got up there and was like, "This is Antifa.
Yeah.
These are this is like Joe Biden's doing, essentially," which stupid, but
I think he walked it back on like Twitter, kind of, but like that matters. Like it's the same as all the Trump shit, where he's like essentially saying, "I fucking love Nazis," and then he goes on Twitter and is like, "No, it's fine." Which like obviously damage control is what everybody does, but like Matt Gaetz is one of the worst on shit like that.
I mean, to do that right after it had just gone down is just like, I don't expect anything from these people, but it's still so incredibly disheartening. And you can't, it's really, really difficult to use Antifa as your like scary boogeyman when the people pictured inside of the Capitol literally have like they're completely decked out in MAGA everything. Some of them had like Nazi tattoos that were like photographed.
Or fucking whoever the dork was who got the hand tattoo of the Corvo from Dishonored. That guy's a real cool dude.
Yeah. Yeah, the famous like QAnon shaman guy, that shithead, he actually I think has been arrested. So there's some semblance of the
Yeah, he's one of the like 12 or 13 people that have been arrested out of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting that you say like the eye for an eye mentality has been kind of tiring, because I also like ultimately not that this excuses the actions of any of those people, but they're doing that because of discontentment with like material conditions. Like there's problems in our country that are causing them to resort to, you know, racism and Trump to get their voice heard or whatever. So I mean, I think they're brainwashed and obviously going about it kind of the wrong way. I can kind of get down with like storming public property, I guess. But some of these people went in with like zip ties and shit.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I can't obviously get behind. So
well, it's like the
sentence started, but
that's fine. There's going to be a lot of that. The zip ties thing just reminds me of the Whitmer plan, the people who are going to kidnap her, and their plan was in their like text messages and stuff. Their plan was to take her to a location to put her on trial, which
good.
Yeah, which just means like yelling at somebody and probably trying to execute them or deciding if you're going to. Like that's sort of what on trial means when it's just a group of assholes who are ideologically like motivated. It doesn't. They may as
it's just mob mentality.
They may as well be saying like we're going to go on our crusade now. Like there's no justice that they're trying to get. They're just angry about shit. That's the only kind of reason you bring fucking zip ties to a fucking building full of people that are your supposed enemies. And to be fair, I think a lot of the people in that building are literally everybody's enemies in this country. But like, you don't go try to murder them all, because then you just get an authoritarian government crackdown. Like, that's not useful. What you do is you smash the building up and make everybody like as aware as you can that you're not there to hurt people. Like, that's the whole point of demonstration, is to fuck up other people's property that doesn't affect anybody except the people in power. Like, I would actually have some amount of respect for these people if they went with sledgehammers and just started smashing up the Capitol building. Like, that sends a way more impactful message. Like, I always think of things in terms of like, what if you saw a photo of this in a history book? Like, what would you take from it?
Yeah.
The photos of this in a history book are fucking South Shall Rise Again bullshit. But if they just went there and were like strictly like trying to fuck up the Capitol building itself, not trying to like hurt people, just trying to like damage their property and like devalue their position as like officials by doing that kind of stuff, that's effective in a way that visually you can interpret it as something meaningful. But just going there and like acting basically acting like the asshole at a school who wants everybody to know how tough they are. Like, they may as well have all just been wearing fucking trench coats with what they were doing.
Yeah, just basically trying to bully and make everyone know that you're mad. I had a thought, but I lost it.
Was it that the real punishment that we should be dealing out is adjusting everybody's wages up and giving everybody health care? Because I think that would actually fix the problem.
Yeah,
Get real.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be a really great outcome for this. Oh, I remembered my thought. So, yeah, you were talking about you would prefer them to destroy the property, which I agree with. What's so interesting about like conservatism, like in American conservatism in particular, they're so like they revere their weird iconography and like statues and all that shit so much that they really don't do a whole lot of that sort of thing. And it's like feels very performative to me because, I mean, what are you really achieving when you just go and yell into someone's face?
Well, if you want to pinpoint the shittiest people on every spectrum of people in the U.S., but like modern people, it's the people who look at like fucking marble statues of like old dictators and poets and whatever, and think that that's what civilization is best as, is like raising one person to godhood, building a statue out of them and putting it in front of everybody. Like, that's a terrible idea in the first place.
Or that like a flag or caring a lot about a flag means something. Yeah, I agree.
And that is something that I think intellectuals, or whatever you want to refer to, like people on the left as, just, I guess the centrist ideal really is that like you're at Harvard and you are standing in front of a large bust of like Plato or something. Like that's the ideal person. And that's not really much better than having a Confederate flag shirt and standing in front of a fucking Robert E. Lee. Like, you're still like taking old ideas and saying, well, that's what we should be. It's like that fucking 4 ways of learning stuff from last week. Like, it's not useful.
Yeah, for sure. And the kind of liberal centrist response to this was very interesting too. Like you mentioned, the eye for an eye bullshit. I did see a lot of people, I think I probably even to some degree tweeted something similar to this, but the people were kind of calling for the police to do violence on these guys.
Yeah, of course.
Which I mean, there obviously is a real like conversation. Did you see all the tweets of people contrasting the photos of the BLM protests this summer to like this shit? It was crazy because there was one photo being circulated a lot. There was like all the police in like riot military style gear, and there was like no one there. And then
is that the one where they're standing on the stairs?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, I think I retweeted that one too. But like comparing that with the Trump people who are like running the police down, or in some cases taking selfies with the police. Like
which that like no, it's a de-escalation tactic.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Okay.
Yeah, you bet. So was gassing an entire group of people who were like the fucking Portland bombs, like that kind of shit. Yeah. You bet. That's how we de-escalate, is we take selfies with them, not, what we were doing actually.
Yeah, or like give them directions to where they want to go inside the building.
Uh-huh.
That was happening too. And I did have a couple of conversations with people who were like, well, so this protest got violent, kind of, but is not really to the level of violence that we saw this summer. And they were like, why is that? And well, because the police aren't fucking beating these people.
Uh-huh.
Because, as I said before, police and Trump supporters, the Venn diagram is a complete circle.
Well, like modern police, well, not just modern police in the United States, like if you give them a reason, like a reason they can believe in to beat people to death, they will do it. I don't know why people think that like this isn't just them being like ideologically like with these people. Like
right. Oh, or a reason or a reason to think they can do something and get away with it and not have any consequence. And yeah, that would like that's definitely a part of this. Like it's a crowd of white people just storming the Capitol. They're not going to get beat on as much. What else was I going to say? I forgot. I kind of lost my train of thought again. But going back to my original point, I still don't think that means that we should be like, come on, police, fuck them up. Like, I saw a lot of that too, and that's pretty gross. Like, we shouldn't want that.
I don't think they should have had the level of leniency they had.
Yeah.
But they sure as hell didn't employ as many less lethal tactics. Like there was, I've heard several times now, there was a person with a pepper ball gun there. Like one of the police was trying to use one of those, but like they had pepper ball guns that they were just shooting at people reporting on the protests over the summer. They had gas that they would throw as soon as a water bottle like entered into like police territory.
Yeah.
They had fucking those beanbag guns that I explained before, but I'll reiterate are generally they are like a little burlap sack full of metal pellets. Like that's a beanbag that they shoot at people. I mean, the beanbag guns are what they fucking crack that what the reporter's skull with at the one thing.
Seriously?
Like they like fucked up people's eyes and stuff. They're also not supposed to be allowed to shoot them at people's like vital areas, and they were shooting them at people's faces. Like all of that shit all summer, and then they get to this and they're trying to say like somebody probably one of the like at least in the top 10 of most important rooms in the entire country, somebody got shot there. Like, yeah, I mean, that sucks. They shouldn't have shot anybody, but like they also should have just had the same, even half of what they had at most of the fucking protests could have kept them from getting in the building. Like,
oh yeah, and well, I think you said earlier, like they knew this was going to happen, so the fact that they weren't prepared for it just shows that leniency even more.
Well, did you listen? So Alex Jones being, of course, there for the like Trump adjacent like rallying and stuff, and marching up with people and all that. Did you hear any of that stuff?
No, I didn't.
It is the perfect example of how like shitheads in that kind of media sphere are, of very like, yeah, this is America 2.0, like all that shit, and like marching up to the Capitol, like let's show them what we're made of, and then they get there and there's a video of him just yelling at people to like mind the curfew and back down and stop trying to get into the Capitol, because like sane people know that that's a huge problem, But as soon as people start breaking into stuff, he starts yelling that it's left agitators that are doing this. It's all false flags. He's there with people, looking at people do stuff, yelling, "That's a false flag right there," which is just
God.
It just switches immediately. If you're like that kind of person, you're just looking for it. It's really stupid.
Yeah, people like that. There's definitely a category of people who are just a little bit too far gone, and they're going to rationalize however they can. Like a Matt Gaetz type who stands up and is like, remember all the MAGA people? That's actually Antifa.
Well, and I think it's important for us to remember that a lot of this stuff is like tons and tons of little incidents leading to this. Like, there's no inciting moment of what's happening, but like the moments along the way for the right, like the right wing side of things, are the dumbest fucking things. Like, it's all motivated by like lack of equality, essentially. Like I get that. Like, we need everybody to be safe, and then we can live in peace and work on shit. But because so many people aren't safe, that's not going to happen. And the like things that have led to this are like Pizzagate and like various like shootings and the way that they handled the pandemic so far and all of this shit that's just like, yeah, of course you're going to have like attempted insurrections. You're withholding people's ability to live from them just as a norm now in this country. So like, I don't know.
It was, that's when I asked you at the top how surprised you were, and you texted me about this too, and I was like, oh, I'm not surprised by this, because ultimately it's an equality issue. People are living in like poverty essentially, and it's really easy to appeal to like the lowest common denominator, last brain cell in your head that's like, you know what, brown people and black people are to blame for all of my problems.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff written about like the root of racism and how it's like sort of biologically ingrained to a certain degree, just because of, or even you could say like evolution sort of planted it into us and we're fighting it like as we sort of evolve further. But the whole idea behind those like studies are having biological diversity is beneficial to us, but having a group of people who are, for whatever reason, something that we acknowledge as like outside of who we are, triggers a fear reflex, because like historically, for all things, invasive groups carry new diseases and new potential hazards. So like evolutionarily, you look at other groups of people and become afraid of them so that you keep your distance. And like, that's stupid for us now. Like, what we should be doing is trying to like fully integrate as much as we can, because that's going to actually safeguard us from tons of shit. But like, I think if we don't like have a huge catastrophe that like stops us from being able to like subsist as we kind of exist now, I think that if we keep going into the future for like, I don't know, a couple hundred more years, like we're just going to start being more of a single group of people, which is ideal. Like, that's what we actually want. And when I say we, I mean literally everybody. Like, in terms of like human safety and like dealing with all of our issues that are entirely based on like two things, which are either like resources or sort of trade politics. Like, things that are keeping us apart are rarely actually ideological. They have more to do with ideologies that build up to like protect the things we have at home. And if we can get rid of the idea of having at home be anything except our planet, then we're fine. Like, we'll have plenty of other issues we will have to deal with, but like trying to negate the idea of like a country needs to fight another country to survive is sort of our big next thing. And based on everything else we've done in the past, that's probably going to be tumultuous, to say the least.
Yeah.
Also, I think we're kind of in the middle of that shit, like most of our, if not all of our lives. Honestly, probably all of our lives. We've been living in that, like that slow build towards like trying to become a larger world community. I think the world wars were actually a big part of that starting, but we're just sort of like in parts of it in our lives too. Eventually, we'll probably look back on it like we look at medieval times and all that shit and be like, well, that seems fucked up. I wouldn't want to live then. But the people who lived then were like, I don't know, this is how we live, right?
Yeah.
It's always a bummer because I would love to be able to like go on a trip and just go somewhere else in the world as like, of course you can do that. Why wouldn't you? And I imagine that that is a future we're looking at where like, I was talking to somebody this morning about they wanted to know where they could leave the US and move to. And like right now, that kind of stuff can only really happen in the world when you have an emergency. Like or you get like married to somebody who has citizenship. Like that's the weird loophole. But pretty much everything else is like, is your country on fire? I guess we can let you live here. I don't know. Like that's the only way that happens right now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And even that is not not always as effective.
Yeah, then you end up being the subject of racism in that country, most likely. Or you could just have one of those problems like fucking Montreal with their hatred of Anglophiles or something. But I would much rather that kind of bullshit around the world than like we gotta kill them. Just being like passively shitty to everyone sounds great. It would be a whole world of Seattle, and that's actually very comfortable to me. There's something I like about people that I don't know on the street being like, ugh. Like that's a comfort. Having people like notice you, but for the wrong reasons, is like, oh, I feel vindicated.
I would not object to that world.
Yeah. Also a world where people living in tents in places that were totally acceptable weren't like kicked out of them. That would be okay.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to live in the tent. That would be a nice thing to have.
Yeah. You know, just the barest of minimums.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Trying to think if there was anything else following this protest.
How about I think mentioning that there were bombs that people just kind of stopped talking about.
Yeah.
Mostly I think about that. I will say this orange pulp really sticks to your face. So the people breaking into the Capitol building had bombs, like a few, and they also found bombs around DC that were near both Democrat and Republican headquarters, I guess. Like near them, like they weren't exactly like carried out or anything, but the New York Times did a couple of articles now, I think, on those bombs and how they actually had like timing devices, like people had been trying to get them ready for some sort of like larger attack. Unsurprising on that as well. Like I expected something to happen, and I expect something to happen on Inauguration Day, but my expectations were bombs. I didn't think there would be as much chance of like people breaking into anything, only because like even though they're right wing, they're still like huge militarized police forces. So I think it's even more likely that it's bombs on Inauguration Day because, like, now they'll probably be... The police will be feeling hurt and they will likely lash out more. And I think the right wing knows that for the time being. They'll probably forget in like a month. But I think people need to watch the fuck out, maybe. Stay home on Inauguration Day.
Yeah.
I also don't know that fucking bullshit with, I don't know, here's your malarkey minute. I don't have anything especially malarkey-ish, so I'll just throw a tiny alcohol bottle across the room. Biden saying that we shouldn't impeach Trump because it'll be too much of a fuss.
Oh, God. You really? I have not.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. One cool thing, man. One cool thing.
If we impeach Trump, he can't run again in 4 years. Like, that's the point.
Yeah, that's the important, because I fully, like, I fully agree with the people who are like, this is largely symbolic. Yes, it is, but also there are actual things that this does. Like, that's the big one. That's the big one. We want to keep him from running again because I'm sure he will live another 4 years just out of pure spite. And the ridiculous amount of money he has, and he'll run again because he's insane.
Yeah, he'll have whatever comes from that ridiculous amount of money that he's just sort of garnished off of all of those donations, and he'll comfortably run again if he's not dead from hamburger.
We can only hope.
I mean, if he dies from hamburger, people will immediately turn him into a martyr, so I don't really hope for anything, but I do hope for him to not be able to run. That would be cool.
Yeah. That would be nice. What else was I going to say related to impeachment? Oh, this is actually not related to impeachment. I'm sorry. My brain not working. Oh, okay. I have it. The wife of a Supreme Court justice, I can't remember which one.
Okay.
I should probably look this up, was found out to have paid for the flights of many of the people who came. There was actually some like organization that was funding all those people to come because obviously a lot of those people don't seem like they would just be able to drop everything and go.
Yeah.
But that was a fun little tidbit that they're just kind of bankrolling this protest turned riot, whatever. But what was interesting about the way that this started is that Trump actually like said the words go there. Not, he didn't say like tear shit up, but he's like, let's march down Pennsylvania Avenue and go talk to them or whatever he said. And I think that's probably ultimately what got him like banned off of everything, because time he like said the words, because everyone is always so willing to excuse what he like implies but doesn't say.
Do you have Twitter handy?
I do. Yes.
Would you check and see if Rudy Giuliani is still on Twitter after he said we need trial by combat in that same thing?
He said we need trial by combat.
Yeah, he said he was also saying like we need to go down there and have trial by combat kind of bullshit. Like he literally said we need trial by combat though.
It's probably deleted now, but yeah, his account is still active.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, maybe it shouldn't be. America's mayor is a real piece of shit.
Yeah, I would say probably we should get rid of that. But
he also needs better hair dye, because that shit's fucked up.
Yeah, what is with like you make so much money?
What is with old, horrible, rich men? I don't know.
Why? Like even Donald Trump, he could like if he didn't spend so much money trying to actively make himself look worse, he could spend money trying to look like a normal human being, but instead he's like addicted to spray tan or whatever. I don't know what the deal is.
Well, and people always make fun of how he looks, but people almost never mention the fact that he is constantly doing duck face and shit like that. Like, he acts like a fucking like shitty high schooler trying to look cool. Like, it's the least presidential option for anything. And I don't like presidents. I would love a non-presidential option, but I would like not a president, period, better.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we can elect a cat president. I think that's a good, like, middle ground.
Spicy for president.
Spicy for president. Spicy's old.
Spicy's
male,
definitely right? over the age limit. Yeah.
There is no age limit. You can be a president whenever.
Oh, I mean, he's, well, over 35.
He's cat 35. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would vote for Spicy over Joe Biden. Honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Back to Joe Biden. What the fuck, dude? Come on.
Joe Biden's a real hunk of shit, but the, like, let me make sure I can set up a future loss in 4 years. Because I don't want to actually stay the president, is basically what I hear when he says that kind of shit.
He has said, like, multiple times that he didn't even want to run, but he did. Clearly, he does want to run, and he wants to be president. He
didn't want to run, but he had to beat the socialists, was his whole shit.
Yeah. I have to restore the soul of America.
I gotta keep people from getting health care. Gotta keep people down.
Gotta keep the machine running on the tears of the pores. But yeah, wow. That was even like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are behind that. They're doing that. Like, why? I don't understand why he's
fucking Chuck Schumer. God, his post the Georgia wins, his quote of "buckle up."
I missed that. Thank God. All of these horrible people that I don't like, but doing the tangential, like the smallest right thing you could do, and then Joe Biden's like, nah, fam, I'm good. He is, I don't know.
He's a real piece of shit.
And
I realize that that's like every president, but still, could we not at least pick a person? Like, I'm sure Sanders would do a bunch of shitty stuff, the same way that fucking Carter did a bunch of shitty stuff. Like, there aren't good presidents, but at least we should shoot for the best president. Like Sanders' old writing of being a pervert, I love it because it's the best version of, like, yeah, maybe he'll, like, do some weird shit. I would love a president that just, like, jerks off into fireplaces and that's how they get their weird shit out.
Sure.
That'd be fine.
Yeah. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Whatever you gotta do, man.
I would rather have people uncover... Yeah. I would rather have people uncover President Sanders' OnlyFans than have to deal with all this racist bullshit, because, like, that's infinitely better if he's just, like, got cool dick pics we can check out.
I'm honestly, yeah, that's all we need. That's all we want.
Yep. But I mean, everything looks good for 4 years from now. I think it's going to work out great.
Does he has put on this weird, like, bravado, and I think he has actually fooled himself into thinking that he won by a large margin.
Biden?
Because the fact that he doesn't want to pursue impeachment says that either he's confident that either he can win again, which fuck no. Or that somebody else can. And I see no one really on the horizon right now that is, like, exciting to me. I don't know how old AOC is, but she's probably not going to be like president material in 4 years. But
AOC is also like, she's softening on enough things that I'm like I wouldn't be interested in an AOC president unless it's the best option. Like,
yeah, I'm thinking in terms of lowering my expectations already. That's how you know I'm a leftist. Yeah. So he clearly thinks that he did such a good job this time around, and he thinks we're going to do such a good job next time that we shouldn't be worried about it.
Yeah, and they're doing the same shit with that they do with the like police statistics, where it's like, well, more white people die than black people due to police, which is sure.
Yes, and
you're right. A population that is like 1/7 the size or some bullshit of the white population. You're right. They do die less than white people to police. But like on that same line of thinking, it's the election stuff of like, well, I got the largest turnout of any Democrat ever, completely ignoring that like the turnout overall was huge and the margin between the two wasn't. Like, that was not a especially one-sided run, and it should have been amazingly one-sided. And they also have those like, they have these graphs of like the way that presidential elections exclusively run almost every time since we have this charting is a whole fuck ton of people vote for that president early, and then it drops off considerably, and by the end it's like gauging the last little bits of people who are voting.
Right.
This election, that happened for Trump. And for Biden, it went up for a while and then dipped because people were just worried about Trump getting in. Like it's a weird anomaly election where Biden only won because people were like, oh fuck, Sanders is out, we gotta vote for Biden now. Like, that's why he won. He didn't win because he's an option like most people wanted. Like,
right.
I feel like everybody just sort of ignored how the Democrat primary started, where everybody was like, God, why is Joe Biden here? Like, he was maybe the least wanted person on that stage until everybody dropped out, and all of a sudden it was like, you're gonna vote for me or not? Like everything that happens in the next 4 years, we have our parents to thank for, and I hope that works out great for them, because I don't think it's gonna go fantastic. Also, there's no excuses because we have the fucking majorities now. Like, we should be able to do whatever thing we're able to do for 4 years. And I bet that's not what's going to happen.
Yep. I've had some conversations with some scared family members who are worried that, America is now turning into a communist paradise.
Yeah.
And I'm over here still frustrated knowing that it just means we're going to get nothing done faster. That's all. My expectations are below the floor.
Yeah, my new comic book I'm starting, The Exquisite Communism of Joseph Biden.
I love that.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. I don't know. Our whole country is embarrassing, but it always has been, but right now it's especially just like the only thing we had in the world that was like, wow, Americans was, I guess Hollywood is always going to be sort of a thing that people are like impressed by. But other than that, it's just like, oh, you guys are like big, strong people. And like, there's no way people are looking at this and going like, wow, tough. Like, it's all a bunch of fucking assholes acting like children. It sucks.
People crying because they can't put a mask on for like 10 minutes in a grocery store.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of like COVID, the protest happened and I didn't even think about the COVID ramifications until way after. And guess what? Surprise of surprises, a bunch of politicians have COVID because they were locked in rooms with Republicans who weren't wearing masks and also refused to be vaccinated.
Yep.
So, thank you once again, dumbass Republicans, for ruining it for everybody. Because the last thing I had heard about it is that the people who had been vaccinated had only had the first one.
Yeah.
They didn't have the second one yet. So that's unfortunate timing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, shitty.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm really displeased with all of it, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so.
Also, I mentioned it earlier, but there was a DC cop during the I think it was during the earlier parts of when they were getting into the buildings that was overheard on camera saying, "We just got to let them do their thing." Yeah. So whether or not they're like with anybody, that's not proof of anything except that there is at least a contingent of people in the police there that thought that, you know, it's not so bad if they do this, and that's sort of troubling.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
Not I would not say naive. I would say just complicity. Complicity? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Complicitness? Whatever.
Compliciosity.
Yeah. Fun week.
Yeah, fun week. Unrelated. So last week I complained about the missing ceiling in the bathroom and the dehydrator that's blowing at it. This week I can confirm that having an entire week of being trapped in the house with a dehydrator running while the air quality sucks, so I can't like leave the windows open either, and having it blow things from our ceiling, which is like ground level for our building, into the bathroom is hellish. The fun surprise this morning was that there was what appeared to be the corpse of a very small, very strange-looking spider in the sink. So who knows what's going to be in our house once we get to like later springtime when that shit starts to pop off. Because this has been a solid week of an open hole into the like foundational parts of the building. So I'm not looking forward to that.
Breathing.
And it's also made the entire house smell like vaguely sickly sweet, almost like a tiny bit of like maple scent, which is really off-putting. I have like a hair product that is like a maple scented thing, which is the only reason I made the connection, because I was like around the house and like, does my hair just smell like this still? And my hair smelled just sort of like it smells, and the bathroom smelled like it, and it was really like, ugh. There's also just like constantly stuff falling out of there. And the dehydrator has made it so that some mornings when I wake up, even though my door's closed and like I have like, I try to have like a decent amount of separation currently between my room and the rest of the house. It's an apartment and it's not very big. And so there's just no like moisture in here. It's just it's rough. It's kind of like once you come into our apartment, you're in Utah for a little while. And I fucking hate Utah's dryness. Like it's the fucking worst. So a lot of like weird that feeling when your throat is dry but you're not sick, where it's just like, why does it feel like it's wrong? Yeah. A lot of that.
That sounds very uncomfortable.
And a lot of like minor nosebleed kind of stuff. Just not being able to sleep because, like, when you're dehydrated, your comfort goes way down.
Yeah.
Lots of cool shit. Though I was having a lot of like muscle pain early on when we were doing the stuff for who knows why, and that's gone away, so that's good, I guess. But the fact that it's gone away and it's still dehydrated in here makes me a little concerned about why the fuck my body's hurting for no reason and then it's stopping. So, normal stuff to love about day-to-day life.
Just fun body things.
Fun body stuff. That's my
Yeah.
favorite. But yeah, I live in a indoor desert, and it's like many of the problems of this year. It's really hard to complain to people about it and have it mean anything, because everybody's, even if they aren't having the roughest time, everybody's got like something that's making them insane this year.
Yeah.
So like I don't even have anybody to like bring into the apartment and be like, "Do you see? Do you feel it?"
Do you feel my pain?
Yeah. Also, unsurprisingly, my roommate has just sort of seemingly not been here since the dehydrator, which is I don't like, if you can do it, that's good, but like it does make me very jealous of the dual house option even more. Just like, man, if I could go somewhere with moisture, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Oh, and you can't open the windows.
Yeah.
Mm.
We've had one day where the air quality got under 30 for the like AQI, and that's about the level where I stop feeling like shit when the air is like free moving. And most of the time it's been around 80, which is like the high moderate level, which is like, that's going to make it even worse for sleeping and just for like breathing in general for me. So
Fun air times. I think I need to address my cat.
Okay.
Real quick. He this week peed on a bunch of my laundry. So
Where was your laundry at the time?
it was in a hamper on the floor. I hadn't addressed it yet, and he just decided that was the spot. So I'm a little I'm afraid to leave him now.
Yeah, that's understandable. I'll play My Heart Will Go On while you let the cat out.
Okay.
And now, My Heart Will Go On.
My cat will go on.
There we go. Wait. Yeah? Okay. Thank you. Oh, sorry. There we go.
It sounded good from what I heard.
Oh, good.
The sound of a tiny flute is a good sound.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the most respected instruments for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
It's definitely not like one rung under a kazoo or anything.
Definitely not. I have some images to send you.
Okay. They're not going to be laundry with pee on it, right?
No, they will not. Oh, I thought I had more. Thought I had more than that. I guess not. Oh well. I'll just send this one. Okay. Let me know when you receive that.
Also, I will say I set up my phone to get my email again instead of just checking the computer for it, and I regret it ever since I did it.
Whoa.
I think everybody should have a moratorium on phone email. Texts are fine.
Yeah, I am a real, really anti-phone email problems. I used to have that issue for a very long time.
Also,
and I could never know why.
Really interesting and important topic. Do you fucking erase your emails? Like, how do you manage your email?
I don't. I just mark them as read because it drives me nuts to have too many unread emails. And I don't delete them, although I should, because I think my Gmail is about to like quit because I've had it since I was like 11. So
man, now I can't remember what email I send you stuff through. It's probably Gmail.
I think it's my Gmail, like my personal one.
Okay. Anyway, so did you send those images?
I sent them. Oh, you received some?
No,
like
I was asking. I was asking if I was receiving images.
Oh, I did send. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I sent it. It's a video, actually. But
that's probably why it's taking a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think in 2015, my email was full, and I had to go in, and I spent like literally 3 hours erasing and like doing a general check of like names that I needed to keep stuff from, and then moving them into folders and erasing everything until I had 0 emails. And it was really awesome when I did it, but like there's so many emails that even like for just general legal reasons you don't want to get rid of, like just in case. Whether it's like customer stuff or it's like business transactions or whatever. And the idea of my email having to be another job that I do is one of those things that I just never got fully into my head. And it really sucks when I look at my email and it says, like, you have 0 unread messages of like 30,000 or some bullshit. It's just like, cool. Because at this point, I get about 100 emails a day. So, like,
yeah, I'm getting there too.
I don't know. And it sucks because, of course, I do. I have a lot of like networking and business shit that comes in through it. But like, I don't know what you're supposed to actually do with it. And I don't know that I ever will. I think that the adjustment of how email and communication works may be one of those things that as old people we get shit on for, where it's just like, why do you have an email full of bullshit? Like, I can already see that starting to ramp up.
Yeah, I could see that. I wish there was a better way of sorting through all that. Gmail has tried, and they've made a bunch of like weird tabs and filters and stuff that I don't like.
Really work.
Yeah, they.
We saw this had ice cream in the title, so we put it in an ice cream folder. Ooh.
Thank you. The only thing that Gmail does pretty well for the most part is when I get an email from a real person, usually those are given some priority, and those are the only ones that I truly care about anyway. So that's good, at least. But yeah, I dread the day when my inbox is actually full and I have to address all these emails that I've just marked as read instead of deleting them. That'll be a rough couple of days, probably.
Oh, okay. I received something, but not. Okay, here's a new problem related to text, not email. I have currently 2 objects that I receive information through. One of them gets some of the texts, and of course that's the phone, because why wouldn't it be the least useful option?
Nice.
The other option is this tablet that I don't take anywhere and is basically like a media thing that I use. It's not really meant for much else except I order food on it and stuff. That, for some reason, gets most of the texts. And I don't know why. They're different generations of stuff, but the tablet is an old-ass tablet, and it has the old OS on it, and it gets all of my texts. The phone is the one I have while I don't have service, and this gets some texts sometimes. So who knows? Anyway, so I did get the thing that I received. What am I looking at? Oh, is this appears to be a dumpling.
Oh, this beautiful.
This appears to be very enwettened greens to put into dumplings. Is that what I'm seeing?
It's actually just kimchi.
Oh shit. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
The other day what day was this? I want to say Saturday evening. I did the cool thing where you sit at your desk and have a few drinks, and then while you're talking to people, and then get up and then realize, oh my god, I'm actually incredibly drunk, and I've just been sitting and I didn't realize. So the next day, I wasn't feeling good, and the only thing that sounded good.
Why weren't you feeling good?
I don't know. Weird. The only thing that sounded good was kimchi, and I don't know why, because that's not something I normally like have a craving for. But I was like, I feel like that will heal me. So my parents were at the grocery store, and I asked them to get some for me, and then my dad came home with like 4 big things of cabbage, and he was like, "We're gonna make it." So. I made kimchi with my dad the other day, and it was really fun. And it's actually super easy, too. I didn't realize. I would have thought there would be like a intense fermentation, just complicated process. Just because I know, like, the only other thing in my head I could think of that's like fermentation is kombucha, and that seems to be a whole thing. So I was expecting it to be annoying and complicated, but literally all we did is we just like salted all the cabbage and then like drained it and rinsed all the salt off after a couple of hours, and then we created the sauce in a pan and like boiled it and then let it cool, and then
when you say created the sauce, do you know what happened to it?
Happened to the sauce, or
what?
How we made it?
Yeah, I want to know as much as possible about this process.
I can, like, off the top of my head, I think it was like chili paste or mixture, a lot of garlic, a lot of fresh ginger, maybe some like sesame oil. I don't think a lot of sugar. And then I think just like water.
Okay.
There's probably more to it that I'm forgetting, but it's pretty simple to like throw together. And then you just boil it and let it cool. And then we chopped up the cabbage and you just toss it with the sauce. And then we covered it, and then it's sitting in their like pantry right now. You just cover it and like let it sit for a couple of days to kind of ferment a little bit.
Just like in room temperature, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. If at all possible, I would love the process of this to follow, because I'm very interested in making some more versions of stored foods around here.
Yeah, I had no idea that it would be that easy, but I'll ask my dad if there's anything I'm forgetting, and I'll like write it down and send it to you. Maybe I can actually even send you some uh, in a few weeks.
Well, you'll have a package you can return stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'm based on how is easiest to send stuff with what I'm sending. I'm guessing you could end up with a very easily sendable box anyway. So
Okay. I can probably find something even if not, but yeah, I'll send some your way. And I haven't tried it. Well, I guess I tried some earlier today, and it hadn't even been like a full 24 hours yet. So, but it was really good. The salting it apparently is for like flavor reasons, obviously, but also like a disinfectant. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. Salted fish and stuff like that is definitely the proof of those things.
Yeah, like it makes sense. I just like never really thought about it.
That's that fucking disgusting shark that I want to try at some point. That shit that's just ferment. It's shark kimchi from like Iceland. That's that stuff that they drink Brennivin / Black Death with.
Okay.
That tastes fucking delicious. I want to eat that so bad, but I know it's like not good. But that's how you make it. Is you have like lye and salt that basically disinfects it, and then you sort of remove that from it and serve it up as this like shark goosh, and then you.
That sounds pretty good. I'm into it.
If we had the freedom to move around to actual places, somewhere that made more foods like that and was actually cold, God, that would be great.
Yeah, well,
all of the U.S. except for Alaska is now kind of too warm. There's parts of like the Great Lakes and stuff that get cold as shit, but like, I don't know. It's world heating up is bad for a lot of reasons, but like, I'm very uncomfortable a lot of the time.
That's the number one reason why it's bad, is because Jesse's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm more comfortable because I can't stand being cold. But at the same time, I do really I enjoy a nice like overcast day, just like a mild day.
Well, maybe I like a sunny day. Like I like having summer, but I also think that the way summer happens in Alaska, or places in that kind of area, is the best version of it. Because it's substantial. Like the an hour of twilight in the middle of the summer. Like the part around my birthday and the part around Christmas are the focal points of when the seasonal shifts are. So I think I'm also biased to it. But having the parts around my birthday be like 23 hours of light and being like generally between like 70 and 80 degrees for like the summer, and then in the winter it's like cold, but it's also dark most of the time, which sounds bad until you realize that like it takes all of the pressure off of like your schedule and stuff. Like you're gonna go out and have to like work or do whatever like you normally would, but you just know it's gonna be dark out, and everybody plans for it. It's like the people in like Arizona or like Illinois who are like, well, it's so hot here, and then you go there and everybody has air conditioners and misters and stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's hot here, but like everybody's prepared for it, so like who gives a shit?
Yeah, that was my exact experience of Dallas too. And it was like the worst for me because they're also acclimated to every building inside being absolutely frigid because the outside is blisteringly hot. So I was just uncomfortable everywhere I went. So
that was the thing that I realized when we were in Hawaii for like New Year's esque range, and it was like it's cold for Hawaii, so it's like summer here, but at the same time, the interiors of everything are air conditioned, and if it's open air, it's incredibly comfortable because it was just like body temperature, like not like 98 degrees, but like the body temperature of like exterior where it's like 75, where you're like very comfortable. As soon as you went into a building that was like fancier or anything like that, not open air, it was like, why is it fucking 65 in here? Like, it could be just, you could open the windows and it would be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do this.
Why are you doing this to me? Yeah.
Anyway, that's what Alaska's like. There's a lot of people are very equipped for the cold. So, like, yeah, it's dangerous if you're stuck outside, but it's not a problem at all in the rest of the ways. Like, plugging your car in is always weird to people who don't know how that works, but like it just means everything works normally. It doesn't mean there's anything like especially rugged about existence. Even like Palmer, the tiny place where I was born, is like, it's very pleasant to trudge around in the snow when you then go inside, and it's like that kind of warmth that you really appreciate, where all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's room temperature in here. This is really nice. Like, that's always more satisfying than having it just be hot all the time for me. But I don't know. People have some weird like pride, I think, in how much they can handle when it comes to stuff.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of dumb like weather shaming that happens in the United States. A lot of people are like, think that they're better than other people because they can withstand the cold or the heat. And I'm just, everyone likes to make fun of people in LA because they'll like wear sweaters when it's I don't know, 65 or whatever is
which
normal.
As far as I know, is your dream. It's
yes,
just
that's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
And for me, it's being able to wear a light jacket when it's 20 below, because you are used to it, and you just have to walk over to the next location you're going to.
I would die. I would freeze and die.
There's so many fucking thick, amazing blankets in Alaska. Like, the amount of things that they make that are incredibly comfortable and amazing to like wear in Alaska. Like, that's where, well, it's one of the places, but that's like in the US, a big part of where like those incredibly like lush jackets and stuff are like used, because you can exist outside in like 0 temperatures and just be fine in that stuff. You just have to worry about your face, and that's it. Being able to walk around in a bed of your own making is pretty dope.
That is, I could get behind some really over the top like winter wear. I do enjoy that, but I also like winter wear that's more fashionable than functional.
Yeah, I do like that stuff too. I don't know. It's hard to imagine living in any one place because of stuff like that, where I would like to do a lot of stuff. I just don't want to live where there's scorpions. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's high on my list of not a thing I want.
No thank yous. Well, those seem like they're pretty localized, so I think you're mostly good there.
Yeah, just don't live in the desert, and you're usually going to be okay. I forgot that if I leave the screen on, this thing just makes noise. Oh, well, I got a Pop's picture of a quiche.
Ooh, yeah.
Wait. I got a Pop's picture of what appears to be a cheeseburger quiche, maybe.
A cheeseburger quiche. That's exciting.
We got a lot of family favorites that are pretty exquisite trash, I would say. They're very good.
My mom has this is not a quiche, but reminds me of this. my mom has a casserole that's made of spaghetti. I think it's called a pizza spaghetti squash casserole, and spaghetti squash is used as like the base,
Right.
and then it's basically just a pepperoni pizza minus the bread on top of that.
That sounds sloppy as fuck.
It's very wet.
Yeah.
But it's good.
It does also sound good.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong with the pepperoni and just cheese and like marinara, whatever. I think it's a keto recipe. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of squash for bread kind of stuff in keto things. Is that in your household? Are you dealing with keto stuff?
I never know. There's always some weird food thing going on.
Keto's not the worst sometimes, but
yeah.
God damn, they have crunchy granola bars. The amount of like hard nuts in a keto kind of diet is sometimes not the best.
Yeah, luckily that's not really a thing here.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's doing actual keto. I think there are just certain things that my mom is like not wanting to do. She's always just generally trying to eat like a healthy person.
Yeah. I don't think that's bad. You can.
It's not, and it's actually kind of nice. Yeah, it's not. All the food is good. The only thing I don't appreciate is being judged for indulging in such sweet delights as Taco Bell and other things. That is definitely looked down upon in this environment, but someone's got to do it.
Of the freedoms that you could have criticized while living at your parents' house, that's at least like understandable.
That one I can understand. Yeah.
It does keep you from getting it like every day, which is always sort of the worry with stuff like that.
I also got rid of my DoorDash account, my membership, because I only had it in Moscow, and it was just easy to do sometimes because it was for me and Evan, but now that it's just me, it's like I don't really.
Yeah, there's no point in that. Also, getting food for one person, if you're not like making it into a plan, is almost always too expensive. Like, the shit that I get is trash that I will cook and eat for like 2 or 3 meals, and I don't know. That's at least something that I can make acceptable in my head.
Yeah.
And I still get comfort food when I'm like on a trip back or forth from work often enough to where that's kind of become my food thing. But on that note, I did the dirt bagginest food ordering I think I've done yet. I think it was the night of the riot.
Okay, that tracks.
Yeah, so it was like literally I ordered this stuff at midnight.
Nice.
I ordered it through Seamless. So this is the weird thing, is that I basically was sucked into the Twilight Zone for like 2 hours. I got food at like 1:30 in the morning. I ate enough of it for it to be like a mistake, but like I felt good about it. Also, my day was completely messed up anyway, so like it wasn't something that was necessarily like, oh, I didn't get to sleep on time. It was more of a like stuff got fucked up and I was like up at like post noon, just like, oh, like by the time I had settled into doing stuff that day, it was dark out. Like it was one of those days. Yeah. And so it came up on that, and I decided I should see if there is anything that I can even order. So I looked, and what I found was a 24-hour like Indian kitchen. And I was like, I don't know anything about this. It didn't even like say where it was. It was just like, here's a place you can get food from. So I I looked at the prices and stuff, and it was like pretty cheap. And like ordering like so for setup, the food I got, I ate in a series of 4 meals over the course of like 3 days, and I paid $40 for it. So like I felt pretty good about like the payoff for that.
Yeah. Awesome.
And it was $40 after like the tip and the like delivery charge and everything. So what makes this so weird, other than this place existed, also when I found like the things that were open, it was a 24-hour Indian kitchen and then like 3 more 24-hour Indian kitchens. None of them said where they were. So I just picked the top one because like I assumed it would be closest to me. But for all I know, these are houses. Like I have no fucking clue where this came from.
Like
also, so where it gets real weird is I ordered it, and so Seamless and a lot of like apps and stuff, you order it and you like have your information in it usually. And it flips to a thing that's like, hey, sending your order, and then it flips to a map, right? Like most places, it goes to a map and it shows you where they're coming from and to you. It never went to a map. So it went to the we're sending your order, and it stayed there for an hour. I didn't hear anything. I assumed they just weren't going to bring it. Like I was basically like, okay, after like 45 minutes, it was like, I don't think I'm going to get this food. So I started boiling oranges. So I'm in the middle of the night boiling these oranges in my kitchen in like a largely dark house. I forget what was on the TV, but it was just like real nighttime dirtbag activity of like the most aggressive kind. Like I think I was doing a bunch of drawings of like various shit that I'm not going to talk about right now. And I was doing like a bunch of like weird kitchen alchemy garbage and just like listening to some like, I think I might have been listening to the podcast about the politics of the prequel trilogy of Star Wars. And just a really surreal evening of garbage, early morning of garbage. And then I get a text from a like personal text number. And they're like, it's a local number. And it's just somebody's phone. And they're like, hey, we're going to send your food out in about 17 minutes. It's like, and I just wrote back like, oh, nice. Thank you.
Okay.
And then it never changed. I never got a map. And what I realized was it had been about an hour and like 10 minutes since I'd ordered. And I ordered something that was done in a tandoori oven, which is almost exclusively an hour. Like the tandoori cooking takes like 45 minutes or something. So my only assumption is that I got this like tandoori lamb, and it must have just been like that period of time. But because of the way ordering works, you never think of it as like that'll be what to expect, you know? Like usually also places aren't like actively starting to cook your orders when you order it, when it's called like what it looks like a deli. Like the way it's set up looks like I'm ordering from a 7-Eleven or something. So I get that message, and then like about exactly the time they gave me, which means they probably typed in my place on a map, got the amount of time it would take to deliver it, and then told me how long it would be. And then the same person sent me a message after it was dropped off saying like, hey, it should be dropped off now. And I was like, oh, thank you for the late order or whatever. The inside of the bag was covered in like sauce. And it was like my food was fine, and like all of the stuff in the bag was fine. but the inside of the bag was just like soaked. And it was really good. Like, it was exceptional food. I when they told me that they were still showing up, because I kind of counted it off, I was basically waiting to see if it canceled the order, and then I would go in, because one other time a place that's like sort of higher end garbage had like canceled my order like after saying it was going to get shipped, and I like had to go into the Seamless thing and like send a message saying like, oh, I just didn't get this, and they like refunded it or whatever. So I assumed I'm not going to get this, I'll just get it refunded and I'll figure out something else to eat. But when they sent me the message, I put a pot of rice on as well. So when it got here, I like set up like the food. It was like tandoori lamb and like a chicken soup congee kind of thing, and then spinach naan. So it was like a really good set of stuff, but that rice also helped a lot. I'll add $1 of my own food and effort in to make this stuff last for a good long while. But
yeah,
that was my first experience with what seemed like people gaming the system of those places, because the prices were very cheap in a way that made me think like they're doing something weird, because they're not going all the way through the system, it doesn't seem like. And they didn't use the like check-ins for the Seamless app. They just sort of treated it like I ordered it through their website and brought it.
yeah.
So like, I don't know. And I looked online. I didn't see a website for this place either. So I kind of feel like this is somebody's house. And if that's the case, thank you very much. It was pretty dope.
I think you might be right. I've seen a couple of restaurants that popped up like in my DoorDash app down in Moscow, and I was like, this is not an establishment. I'm very certain this is just somebody in their kitchen who's like, I'm gonna make this now, and is selling it. Which, you know, fine, tastes good. So
I mean there was I missed the time for it, but right before Christmas there was a place that was supporting convicts, like ex-cons, by doing a bake sale. And I almost got a pecan pie through there, but they had run out of orders for pecan pies by the time I got to it. It was specifically an older lady who had been in prison, who was like trying to raise money for the holidays by doing a bunch of pies, and then the pies were getting some people had volunteered to go deliver them to all the places that got them, and they were only like $15 or something for like a pecan pie, which I will pay for a pecan pie, especially a homemade one, but I didn't get in on that fast enough. But yeah, as much as I think it's important that restaurants and stuff have licensing and things like that so that people don't just go buck wild, I do think as long as you accept the risks, getting food from just somebody isn't like a big deal. Like, that's a lot of the best food I've ever had is just from somebody.
But that specific somebody that you ordered from sounds like a real good time, a real good deal.
Also, just the weirdest.
Yeah, that.
Also, I maybe because it was late. I mean, partially it was, or maybe because it was just like the whole situation of it. When I had the timer, like, oh, they'll be here soon. I was like, well, I should sit at my laptop and turn the screen away so it looks like I'm like working or something. Like, there's a reason I'm up. Like one of those kinds of things. I don't know why the fuck I did that. It was just this weird compulsion to not look like a complete scumbag. But I think that they covertly dropped it off at my little like landing thing outside while I was trying to get my not looking like I was a dirtbag together. So I think it was the worst possible version of it, of like he just sort of like fiddling with trash. Anyway,
They're like, "Oops, leave this here for you."
I should just be comfortable being a human raccoon. Like it's a lot of people.
You should really just own the fact that you're up at 1 in the morning boiling some oranges. That's just how it is.
Well, it sounds bad when you say it like
Who
that.
you are. But the end product is so good.
Yeah. And I got a nice orange drink to make out of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
God, that food was very decent.
It sounds very good, and it's making me very hungry to think about it.
Yeah.
Especially the naan. Oh my God.
Yeah, naan. Honestly, the naan was the worst thing that I got from there because it was definitely still tandoori cooked, but it was like, I get the feeling that they cooked it after the food was cooked, and it was like not the best naan is almost cooked just to the edge of being burnt, where it like gets really hot all the way through, and then it starts to like singe the bubbles that come up on the bread. This one looked like they had pulled it while it was like getting fully cooked, but it didn't get to that like slight char. But it was still really good. It definitely like was underwhelming for what I see as like the perfect naan, but the sauce that they gave me was very good. They had like they had a chutney that was something I didn't expect. Usually it's like a mango chutney or like a more stereotypical one, but this one was something different. But it was very dark, and I ate it very quickly with the bread, so I don't remember what it was now.
That sounds good.
But it wasn't too far off from what I imagine a tamarind chutney would taste like. It just wasn't that.
That's kind of what I was getting when you said it was dark. That's kind of what I might guess.
Yeah,
Or
it might have
like date or something.
It might have had tamarind in it, but that wasn't like the style of chutney it was. It was like a spice-based chutney. So the actual like liquid base was probably tamarind, like if I had to guess. But yeah, I would get that again in a second. But I'm not going to do it for a while because I'm not going to like overdo that shit. It was a good experience. And I still feel better about that than like the movie night where I got Taco Bell delivered. Because that's still like the most garbage thing you can do, I feel like, is, hey, Taco Bell, I'm going to need you to bring the tacos to me.
Yeah, that one does kind of hurt. I've been there.
Yeah. This, by the way, was not a Taco Bell delivery. This was on my way from work.
Oh, okay. I can take back all my judgments now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got one of those boxes of trash food so that I could give some to my roommate, and then I took it home and had a couple meals of just, you know what it is. Everybody knows what it is.
Yep.
I gotta get one of these shrimp chips.
I need some more nuts.
More nuts!
It's nut time.
Did you watch anything this week that wasn't news?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. Actually, that's not true. I've been, have you seen the show Love? I think it's a Netflix original. Okay.
Who's in it, or what's it about?
It's about this girl, played by, I always forget her name, but she's like the hot girl in Community.
Oh, the brunette or the blonde?
The blonde.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. the hot girl in Community is a weird qualifier.
Well, that's like what in the first couple of episodes, she's like the unattainable girl that he's like going after. That's how they introduce her character. Right. So
I
that's
forgot.
all I remember.
Because now I think of her as the person who's in like weird horror movies sometimes.
I haven't seen her in any horror. What's she in?
Yeah, she's in the cell phone horror movie. She's like the mom in that. It's like her kid has a phone app that can see the creature, and that's like the only thing that can see it. I'll see if I can find a trailer for you. And then she's in something else that is, I think, a horror movie also, where she's like part of a group cast.
Interesting.
A lot of horror movies aren't the most memorable when it comes to like the title, but yeah. Usually I'm good with names, and for some reason I can only remember Brie Larson at the moment. The other
one.
The other hot lady from Community, I guess.
I can remember her name in the show, but Jillian Jacobs. That's
there we go.
I really like her.
Yeah, she's got a specific acting style that I think is sort of character actory. She's not necessarily somebody with a lot of range, but I like what she does.
Yeah, so actually, if you watch the show, you might think a little bit differently, because I first saw her in Love, and she plays a like. Hey, stop. She plays a girl who has like a long string of relationship issues, but she is like, she's an alcoholic, and she starts getting help for that and going to meetings and stuff, and like pursuing sobriety, and she plays it really well, I think. It's not like gritty or dark at all. It's lighthearted. It's about her relationship with a guy named Gus, who is a tutor on the set of a show called Wichita, which is about witches in Kansas, and it's like it's really dumb, and it's just about their like ensuing relationship, and I really like it. But I was recommended this show called Easy. Have you seen that on Netflix?
I don't think I've seen either of these shows.
This one, I'm not as into this one as I was into Love, but it's
so far I'm pretty sold on Love. What's Easy about?
Easy is like, I'm trying to think. There's another show that's shot kind of similarly. I can't recall it, but each episode deals with kind of a little vignette into like the relationship between two people, and then like you find out through this season that all of these stories are kind of intertwined somehow in like the backgrounds of each other's lives. But it's basically, I think, supposed to be just little vignettes of like what love is, or dealing with issues and relationships, and they're not seemingly like related episode to episode, so some of them can kind of like stand alone, and it's very interesting to watch. But so far there's not like a connecting narrative to all of it.
I feel like shows that are based on different ways of relationships working are very hit and miss. Like I feel like that got popular after Love Actually, and I think Love Actually fucking sucks. And I think those are great vehicles for people who are good actors to like get known from. But I think that generally speaking, people who are making media like that don't have a very good handle on human relationships as like a non Hollywood style thing. So.
Is it Mom Minute? I think it's Mom Minute. Watch out for me.
It seems
it's
like
almost
it
messy
might
Mom Minute. Hi! How are you? This Mom Minute is brought to you by Dry Fly Huckleberry Vodka Lemonade.
Oh
which I brought for you.
Ooh.
I am excited to try that. That sounds good.
Like 6 bucks.
I'm
not
a-
making that mistake again. But
Where did you get it?
at Union, I was
Oh.
working there. I felt bad being there and not buying something, so I was like, "Oh, I'll take one of those."
All right.
And then she rang me up, and I was like, "That was a mistake."
Yeah, I
But
will savor.
enjoy
it.
Every little drop.
I shall. Thank you.
I'm jealous of that.
This is a huckleberry lemonade with vodka, dry fly vodka. Okay, cool.
I mean, that
Small
sounds fucking
minute
good.
brought to you by- Based on the entrance, I thought she was saying, "I have drank this," and now
Right,
that is
yeah.
why. But this is also good. Should
Yeah.
should I crack this open and try it?
It's up to you. I don't want to force you to expend your wares when you don't want to.
Mm.
But I also won't discourage it. I'm on my second drink thing.
I think I shall because I went a little light on my weird tea.
Yeah, you need more alcohol in that tea to really make it work.
Okay. Mm.
Is it? I always worry about flavors like that if it's going to be really hoppy or something. But it's just supposed to be like vodka, so like not like a fermented thing, or not like a beer.
It's a huckleberry lemonade, like I don't know, vodka something. So there's no like beer flavor at all. It's
Okay.
basically just a lemonade with alcohol in it.
Is it like a hard lemonade, like Mike's Hard style thing? It's
Yeah.
like a fancy party beer kind of.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Okay.
I usually am not like lemonades are usually made way too sweet.
Yes.
But this is actually a very good sweetness level. I would say the huckleberry is not as potent. I probably wouldn't know it was huckleberry if I.
I think that's mostly an excuse to make the can blue.
Yeah, and to sell more of it in Idaho probably.
Oh, are you big huckleberry people?
I think huckleberry is like the state thing. Anywhere you go in a gas station here, there's like a huckleberry section.
Huckleberry potatoes, the popular Idaho export.
I guess the things we're best at, and racism.
Speaking of Idaho and racism, the thing that I just got a bunch of messages about from various people was apparently there's a bunch of no-fly list things happening with MAGA people.
I saw that.
And I had not seen that yet. And it's coming off of me reading a bunch of stuff directly about like things that have happened in Idaho. Like a lot of like history in Idaho, obviously, of being a real white supremacist shithole.
Oh,
but,
yeah?
Yeah.
Whatever could you mean?
It's very popular with a certain crowd. A certain crowd that doesn't like it when you don't pass as, un-American.
Patriot? Yeah. It's a very fun history we have up here. And not at all gone. So,
Yeah, no, that is clear. Yeah.
that is, in case you were wondering, they're still around.
Oh fuck, what was it? There was something about maybe some more alcohol will help.
I was gonna say I'll do some sip ASMR to help jog your memory.
You can really hear the huckleberry. It sounds like a toilet flushing in the apartment next to me. Like one of those like airplane toilets. If you have to sit in the back and it's like
horrible.
Like just from like behind a wall.
Ugh. I almost inhaled it and choked.
Anyway, yeah, there's been a lot of real good news coming out of all that stuff, and I had more things to say about it, but those things aren't going away. Like, I'm sure I will have more things to say about it next time as well.
Oh yeah, I'm sure more things will happen. I was not aware of any like new or like recent events of that sort up here.
Yeah.
But I'm not huge into paying attention to the local news because it usually is filled with garbage. But
Uh-huh.
I should
Yeah.
still do that.
There's definitely a lot of, I don't know, news that has a very obvious bias.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff coming out of post riot stuff is like, oh god, that's a really weird headline, and then you'll look and it's from like Daily Mail or like something that's or it'll be from like a Stormfront style place that I don't know. You can't really trust any of that shit to be earnest in the way they portray things like that.
Yeah, I did see one. I think it was either Washington Post or New York Times, and those are very different, but I can't remember which one it was. One article that they ran right after the protest that was like, the headline was something to the effect of, no, the protesters were not Antifa, or something like that. Yeah. And I actually enjoyed that. I'm like, yes, more headlines like that, please.
Yeah. It's
actually say the thing.
If you're not thinking about it, it can be really surprising when somebody brings up something like, they weren't like some sort of weird left agitator. Like, that's not how things happen. It's like people trying to normalize some of the stuff in like property destruction over the course of the like BLM like protest stuff. And it's, if you're going to destroy property and you're going to make a scene, you should give credit to the people who are doing it. And the only real difference here is that by giving credit to the people who did what they just did, it makes them look really bad. And by giving credit to everything over the summer, it kind of doesn't look that bad on anybody. And that's sort of the problem, is they have to make up a bunch of shit, and then when bombs are found here, instead of fucking bottle caps and like what they found, like it was like one of those things that holds like ball bearings to like move a chair around basically, and they were like, this was a pipe bomb, it was gonna be. They don't talk about that shit. Or like the guy who was like ex-military throwing actual bombs at protesters that they have video of him doing it, and then him being like, stop videotaping me. And like nobody talks about that shit.
Yeah.
But they are very willing to talk about how it must have been like Antifa with these bombs when it comes to everything else. Now I'm getting just in the time that I do the podcast, I get like a full story in text messages.
Just line by line, one text at a time.
Oh, it's like, so when I checked the tablet, I had like 5 different text message strings that had popped up since we started. And one of them went from, here's a bunch of stuff that I'm thinking about, to like more nitpicky bits of things about things they're thinking about, to an apology for talking about the things they're talking about. It's not that big a deal. Just like people need vaccinations. This is really wearing on people.
Please. You become the well, maybe this has always been your role, but it sounds like you're just the local like sounding board for all the thoughts to be made external.
It is kind of just where I sit in social situations, because I choose to be as accepting as I can be, because I like people. the downside to that, and I think honestly the reason why a lot of conservatives are purposefully assholes is that they want like full privacy, and that doesn't happen if you're like a nice person. At least a outwardly nice person, as opposed to somebody who yells facts don't care about your feelings in people's face, like that kind of asshole.
I don't know. There's something about that person that just makes me want to get to know them.
Yeah. Wow, you're really interesting. You seem mysterious.
I could fix you.
Ooh.
A project.
God.
Oh.
I can't talk about significant others being projects right now. I had what was on the verge of being a yelling conversation with myself about a history of doing that at times, like a week or so ago. That was very much like a man, I gotta not do that shit.
Yeah. It is a yeah.
It's probably honestly why a lot of the people that I have dated in the last like 3 or so years have had like PhDs, is because it's like, man, they got their shit together enough that I don't really have to worry about anything. But that is its own form of laziness. I don't know how people date, but I know that I'm mixed when it comes to success on intention. Yeah. The benefits of a fair amount of single time in a person's life is getting to see some of that shit and not being a complete idiot when it comes to the kinds of things you could be an idiot about.
Yeah.
I've done plenty of.
There's plenty of time to dabble in both areas.
Yep.
I'm having fun dabbling in the single area. Sometimes it's really not fun at all, but
yep.
Lately it's been okay. It's kind of, you know.
There is a freedom associated with being single that is great. There is so this is an odd topic, but I feel like now it's a topic. When I'm single, especially when it's past the hurt part and into the like the part where I'm just sort of like doing some stuff to like work up to being not single again in the future. Not like relationship training or something like that. I mean, like the whole point of being single for me is working into a bunch of projects that I can do, and like you kind of have more time to experiment with stuff because you don't have to worry about the result as much as when you're worried about how somebody is going to react to your like immediate bullshit, which is very much the difference of being in a relationship and not. I think is I do a fuck ton of dumb stuff, and I can do even more dumb stuff when I'm not in a relationship because nobody's going to be like, what are you doing? And then when it's in a relationship, it's usually like, you do a lot of dumb stuff, and I'm like at half dumb, and I'm like, I should probably like
oh no,
get around here. Why did you bring home 20 cardboard boxes of double thick cardboard? It's like, I mean, I was gonna build a 20-foot tall face out of cardboard, but now I'm having second thoughts about it.
It's seeming like less and less of a good idea.
Yeah, that's sort of the push and pull of singledom in my life. But also, like, people dating artists need to just understand that that shit's gonna get weird. Anyway, when you're in that point of like expression as opposed to like self-doubt or whatever happens right afterwards, I bet that's different for everybody. That part is great, but there is a certain point where other people, I think, depending on your lifestyle, can start to impose a lot of ideas on you as a single person, including the idea that like, well, you've been single for a while, which is like sort of my position currently, which my work up to like not dealing with like just being single and maybe cutting back on some of the dumb ideas was partially planned in my own head for this last year. And that was the worst timing ever. But there's a point where people start to, unless you're like absolutely terrible. This doesn't count if you're terrible, obviously. There's a point where you start having a lot of people sort of coming to you for like future potential, I guess. Like for me, I get a lot of people starting to like, not like headhunt me because I'm like available exactly, but it'll be a lot of like combination of little bits of that, and then like people like starting to like more forcefully like suggest setting you up with people, and a lot of people like trying to criticize things so that you can be more relationship oriented and all that shit. That is one of my least favorite like types of living to do, where everybody's just kind of like, hey, so you want a relationship, right? And that may just be like as a person who has a lot of like associated folks around, but like some of that can actually really suck. And especially because one of my biggest like depression things is dealing with people who want a relationship but don't appeal to me as much. That's happened in the past, where it's one of those things of like I don't know, I make a lot of my time into being everybody's like something, like decently associated with people, even if I'm not like super on board with like everything that they are. And that runs a real risk of people taking it differently. And I've had some of that happen. And that sucks. But that being said, I actually think that is probably much worse for women. So I try to keep those complaints to a minimum, because like I always assume it's going to be a worse version of that for people who aren't sort of a weirdo dude. Like I'm probably off on the side, but I still get enough of that to be kind of troubling.
Yeah. Well, I think there is just I don't know. I view I think it's a certain type of personality too, and I also have a theory of it being kind of an oldest sibling thing as well. I don't know what it is about these personalities, but I think we tend to be those people that, for some reason, are the like advice givers, or the just the person you come to. And I've been that person for a lot of my friends for like my entire life. And most of my friends, I would say, have been guys growing up, and that has proved to be quite problematic lots of times.
Same. But most of my friends are women, because I think guys are often not super interesting, which like I feel like should be more understandable. I don't typically like to yell at a sports team, so it just doesn't happen as often.
Yeah.
But it does provide a lot of space for things to be awkward. Also, guy with a lot of female friends, or I imagine woman with a lot of male friends, can get interpreted as something that is also more fluid sometimes than you intend to appear. Because I consider myself like bisexual, but lightly. Like I like people a lot, but I'm not like out there hunting for anything specific. And that, especially if people know that about me, it turns into like a much more like, well, I mean, have you even tried getting lots and lots of dick? And it's like, no, I don't plan to, but thank you for the vote of confidence.
Yeah, I've been also kind of hesitant to even broach that topic with
Yeah.
so many of my friends because I know there are people who would be understanding of my position because I think I'm also in the same boat where I'd identify that way, but there are a lot of like gatekeeping sort
Yeah.
of attitudes, and also yeah.
When I was just generally growing up and I was doing like um a lot of like GSA stuff, like the Gay Straight Alliance stuff in school and all that. It was because those were all the people that I could connect with. Like I liked those people. We were all weird. That was a great place to be for somebody in high school who, like, by the time I got past like sixth grade, I was in school districts that shifted enough to where I didn't have a group of friends I gave a shit about where I was. Um, and well, I had some friends by the end of high school, but like that was almost a fluke. And there was a lot of weird folks that I ended up with. You want to talk about the origins of true trash? That was where that started. Being in a fucking environmental science AP class with a guy who was like just crusty with weed and would show up to class with like multiple donuts and be like, yo, I got the donuts, and like would just hand me donuts like, nice. Like that was my my experience of a lot of the end of school. And when you hang out with people like that, people who are, say, drawing their own hentai, and then a bunch of like gay kids in a hillbilly area that don't know who the fuck to turn to, you, I don't know, you feel like an outcast, but you definitely get also sort of marked with a certain brush after that. And I never really got to where I was comfortable talking to people about that stuff just because nobody gave it any credibility. And especially post school, if you talk to people about not being fully straight or fully gay, they like to tell you about all the ways that you're like an embarrassment to one of those two things. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, or that you just haven't figured it out yet fully.
Sure.
You're like
Yeah.
halfway there. That's fun too.
Yeah.
I haven't opened it up to a lot of people just for that reason. I'm like, I'm not even interested in having to prove anything, especially considering like I've exclusively been in straight relationships.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I don't feel the need to litigate this with anyone outside of myself.
Also,
But
when it really comes down to it, I think being from a similar position, you can agree. If somebody shows up and you like them, that's about it. Like that's the extent of what you need in starting a relationship. You don't have to have anything else going on.
yeah, I would. And I think that's how most people work. Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
Transcending their expectations of whatever. I think that's how most people are. So
I think the upside is that bisexuality tends to be, for bad reasons, more acceptable for a lot of women, but the reason for it, I think, is somewhat misogynistic. The idea of like, well, of course you would be attracted to women, they're always the hot ones, like that kind of thing. Which I don't entirely disagree with. I think men often don't take care of themselves. So like, yeah, a lot of dudes are fucking disgusting. But maybe that's more the thing we should talk about than whether or not we have strict enough. Yeah.
I've gotten that before. Well, of course, because society fetishizes women so much that like you're just basically a product of it the same way that men are, which is interesting, but I don't know that I fully agree with that. I don't think that that's completely where that stems from, but
I know
Interesting
enough
thought.
old ass same-sex couples that just are people that live together to where I don't think this has ever been different. And in reality, I think, except for the people I know who are extremely straight or extremely gay, pretty much everyone I know, I bet if you put the right person in front of them, they'd be like, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway. God. I guess actually that does work into watching a season of Schitt's Creek over the course of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? I hate saying that, had that representation. I don't know how to, or that depiction, I guess, is.
It seems fine. Like, I think that they do a pretty good job with that show. I think that they're, for a show that focuses as much as it does on relationship dynamic stuff, they do an okay job with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, I think that show takes like 2 full seasons to get like good. And then I think it's like 5 seasons total, something like that.
5 or 6.
Yeah. I think most people would enjoy that show, and I've been enjoying it. I also enjoy how Canadian it is. Like, it has all the trademarks of a Canadian show, which I appreciate. It's very from the like Trailer Park Boys style lineage of stuff. I don't know. I like their general takes on their main characters, and some of their side characters are, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty excellent. Like, I have watched a season in a week. It's clearly something I enjoy.
It's good. Yeah. I do really like that show. It's the right type of dumb humor for me.
Yeah.
And the costumes are just great. I love outlandish. I always forget Catherine O'Hara. She's amazing.
Her character in that is so fucking rough. The speech pattern stuff was rough at the start, and then you kind of like get into it, and then like it's like being too good at being awful at a certain point. It's impressively like, I don't want to be in a room with this person. I don't want to like deal with this person. Like, you start to get that feeling of like being at a family reunion with somebody that you do not want to have to talk to every episode, and I think that's really effective. It is
She's
funny.
So good at it.
Yeah, when they have the scenes where she's supposed to actually be like a human being for a few minutes, it's really funny to see her do something like a normal person, because if she doesn't, it's not going to pull off right in the scene. Because it's like she has to break character just to do those bits, because if it was the character she's playing, you can't relate to it ever. And I think that's really, like, that takes me out of it a little bit, but because it's a comedy and that doesn't matter, it works pretty well.
Well, I think that's even part of the character too, is that Moira is so like into her actor or actress past and her like soap show or whatever that she was on, that she like kind of is just acting all the time, with like very brief moments of living her life as an actual human. But I always wonder, like, how do you even creatively come up with that speech pattern? It's so weird and annoying. I don't even know how she like thought of it herself. Yeah. I don't. But it's so funny. I deeply love the episodes where, I think there's a couple of these where she just, for some reason or another, goes into complete panic and like spends the day in the closet.
Oh yeah. I
love those.
there's an episode where she's like, she's stressing out about a performance she said she was going to do, and then they end up doing the performance that they do or they did for Christmases in the past.
Yeah.
That was and then like an episode later it's a flashback to that performance. That stuff is one of the funnier, like, rough moments of just like, I have that issue of being intensely embarrassed by people doing things that are embarrassing, and that show makes that feeling happen absolutely.
The cringe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Good show, though.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I like that they take characters that are hard to humanize and make them very human. I especially like how the dad figure played by Eugene Levy is constantly assumed to be the most normal, and every time he does anything that's like letting loose, it's the weirdest, dumbest shit possible. But the rest of the time, he's like normal.
Yeah.
That really works well. And I like a show about class issues. I think that that's just generally something that is worth having on. And a show that's very down with people and like general like sexuality without making it like weird stereotypes, I think is good, just in general.
Yeah. Yeah, I did really like that. I thought I kind of missed, I don't know if maybe I'm just not remembering. I guess there's really no reason to address this. I was going to say I kind of wish there were more scenes addressing like David's relationship with his parents and like his process of like coming out or their acceptance of that, but it kind of seems like just where the characters are in their lives, all that has already done and passed and happened. So it's more just like him talking to Stevie, I think, is the first person he like talks to about it.
I think that's right. I think there's like a car conversation about it at some point.
Yeah, but it's very like chill and not made into a big deal, which I liked. I was gonna say I wish there were something having to do with the parents, but I think they're just past it in that character's life or whatever.
Also, I appreciate that instead of going on about like how hard it is to come out, they just go on sort of weird tangents that point out that it might be hard to come out. Like the longer term boyfriend figure for David in that show, he like starts his like same-sex relationship experience with David in the show. So they have a little bit of that like introduction to kind of stuff. But instead of showing like the hardships of it, they just show that this completely fucking broken, weird family is still like 100% fine with, like, they don't even comment on it like it's odd that their son is bisexual. They're just kind of like, I don't know, like, is that a problem?
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. That should be the way that we portray that stuff.
Yeah, that should be the reaction.
As much as I appreciate people looking into like historical things as like, look at how hard it was for people, and like, you know, we should talk about like Stonewall. We should talk about like trans people way more, and we should show them in a light that is normal people doing normal shit. Like all of that stuff needs to get better, but like there is a place for the hardship tales. We just need less of that as like a default and more, here's these people. That would be really helpful. One weird place where that has been happening is YouTube. There are a lot more like things that keep sort of surfacing in the last year or so that like are YouTubers that just happen to be trans, and it's not like
Oh yeah.
being treated like it's a big deal. It's just kind of like one of the there's another podcast that I watch that's like a small 2-person podcast thing, and over the course of their podcast, one of the podcasters changed their name, and like they just acted like, yeah, this is just where we're at. Like, I don't know. And that was really nice to see, just like people living their fucking life, and it not mattering.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of podcasts, I have a frenemies update for you that you really won't care about, but it's important.
I would like to hear it.
So remember how Trisha, I don't know. You remember. I don't even know how to succinctly explain Trisha. She was dating Ethan's brother-in-law, right? You remember that? Over the Christmas break hiatus, they got engaged.
Okay. So what does that do to the podcast?
Nothing so far. I mean, it's just cute. It's still going, but
now I do a podcast with my sister-in-law, who I do not like initially.
Yeah, but now your sister-in-law is Trisha Paytas, and that's just, she's like an aunt. She's his son's aunt, because he has like a little 2-year-old boy or something like that. That is insane. That's so fun to think about. Anyway, that was my big piece of frenemies news. Seems like they're actually doing pretty well now after their last like big blowout thing.
Honestly, for something that isn't like a planned and staged production, that's a pretty good storyline overall. Like, I'm pretty into it. Like having, it's also like kind of a cool, like despite all the sort of bullshit personal traits of any of these people, the aspect of not liking somebody, having a lot of problems, getting to know them, and then all of a sudden they're like a close part of your family is kind of the right media, even if I don't have any interest in like the people themselves. Having that be like the way that we're looking at people is really cool. More of that would be fine with me, like just sort of showing up places.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Speaking of more of that, I was going to try to avoid it, but I can't wait the 20 minutes to pee. So,
okay.
What story are you going to tell people while I'm in the bathroom?
I don't know, but you could be thinking about yours because I also have to go. We'll trade off.
Okay, I'll think about mine.
Okay. Ooh, sake. My story that I will tell. I will tell the story of the vegan pasta dish that I made a few days ago that was very, very good. It was a like sauteed kale and romesco sauce pasta. And romesco sauce is very interesting, and I had never made it before, but it's like, it's different from a traditional tomato sauce because there's tomatoes in it, but you also, at least the one that I did, you also had grilled red peppers and almonds. I think the almonds are, I want to say maybe like a dairy stand-in, but maybe just a texture thing, or maybe that's how romesco is made. I don't really know. But also a piece of bread and garlic and lemon juice, and you just shove that all in the blender, and it makes a sauce. And I did that, and the sauce was really good. And then I put the sauce in a pan and like sauteed my kale with red chili pepper flakes. And it was, what else did I put in? I think I put the lemon juice in the kale, actually. Yeah, it was kale and lemon juice, salt and pepper, sauteed with the chili flakes. And then you mix it all together with whatever pasta you liked. I used rotini, I think, if I'm getting the name right, which I'm probably not, but it's a pasta that's like about 1.5 inches tall, maybe, and like a 1/2 inch in diameter. It's a bigger, like circular, flat noodle, if that makes any sense. But it was really good. And I made it for my family, and we all had a vegan meal, which I think should be a more normal thing. I think I'm going to try and do like maybe 1 or 2 vegan days a week because I really like meat, so I don't think I can fully switch to veganism as much as I would morally love to do so. But actually, it's not even meat, it's seafood that I can't give up. That's it. Why, hello.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. These are fun because their stories we'll probably never hear
Oh
of
yeah,
each other's.
definitely not.
So I'll tell you a story about piss.
Oh boy. What a fun
This is
story.
just between you and us. Madison's gonna go in the other room. So oh sorry, somebody sent me a picture of a very long spoon they own, so I better check that out real quick. Okay. So piss. So when I was a teenager, one of the first people that I had like a one of those it's cool in a sitcom and it's terrible in real life, will they won't they relationships with was this girl who was like a teenage smoker, just like one of those dirt bags that you can't help but be like fascinated by their lifestyle, but as soon as you get to know their family and hang out at their house and really get to know where they come from, you you realize that like you don't want any part of that. It took me a long time to realize that, but there were a lot of events that happened along the way, and one of those was something I often think about when I think about piss, which is I so I hung out with this person through like 4, maybe 5 of their relationships, in which we had a weird sort of relationship between all of them. I assume there were other people doing the same thing, but I don't know, honestly. And one of the things that we ended up doing while she was dating a guy in a horrible band out in the middle of nowhere on like the border of Washington and Oregon is we went out to that guy's family's unfinished house in the woods, which sounds hillbilly as hell. The house was like a mansion, but the wall to the kitchen was unfinished. And when I say it was unfinished, I mean they had broken the wall out and had like the doors closed in parts of it, and it was open air. And it was the summer, like it didn't matter. I think I was like in one of my earlier years of college. It didn't matter, but I was sleeping in a sleeping bag or on a mattress with like a sheet or something, actually. And spicy's getting spicy. I was on this mattress and I woke up outside in a house, and I woke up to the back of a cat just spraying piss at my face. And that was one of the worst mornings I had that month, for sure.
Oh boy.
But man, that band sucked, and they had a goat, and that wasn't the best. Anyway, I did a lot of that kind of stuff.
Caught the climax of that one, huh? Speaking of cats, here we go.
Yeah.
This one won't spray piss in your face, but maybe on your clothes.
Yeah, well, you know, it happens. Cats get old, and cats like to piss on other stuff when they get old.
I guess.
relationships are weird, and sometimes you get covered in cat piss. I think I had to get into a different section of the house that was more built to use a shower, but I don't remember exactly how that went.
I will be watching this back. I have to know. Hi.
I think that was the same summer that I stayed up all night playing some old, like, Luigi's Mansion or something. It was a good summer, but there were some things that went weird on me. Anyway.
Sounds like at least one thing definitely was weird on you.
Yeah. That's also around the time that I got the only car I ever owned before it was blown up with dynamite the following year. So, don't hang out with the people I hung out with when I was younger, I guess is the moral of the story.
Who do you have to hang out with to get your car blown up?
Hey. Teenage smokers, I guess. You got to have several families and several places so that you meet a lot of interesting people by necessity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That checks out. But.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of relationship projects from earlier, I am a big fan of Spicy's face. It is a very structured cat face. I've definitely met my fair share of cats that are ugly, but still cats, so I enjoy them. Yeah. I was just noticing, because I've seen a few different pictures of Spicy in the last little while. I feel like it's a good... My cat also had a very, like, regular shaped head, I guess is what I'm saying.
I need everyone to see what we're talking about.
Yeah, like
so bright.
Spicy looks like if you turned an old man into a cat, and I like that effect. It's very earnest.
He has a very crotchety face.
Yeah.
Especially right now. I think I'm kind of pissing him off right now. Don't snag my shirt. I just... Okay, yep. We're angry. We're angry. Get away.
Hey.
I made him mad. Yeah, he has a very angry face. And he also has something I'm going to pronounce incorrectly called, I think it's torticollis or corticollis. Okay. One of those two things. And it's just like I don't know if it's a virus or a muscular condition, but it's a thing that happens in cats where their head is crooked. Just all the time. So if you see him like in all the pictures, he's like this. That's just how he is.
Maybe I like to have a crooked head. Maybe I'm just identifying with him because I see that. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, he's very fun. It's gotten worse as he's gotten older, but he's also kind of like pigeon-toed now. So he walks down the hall, just all kinds of crooked, just like.
Excellent.
It's pretty funny.
My old cat had 2 or 3 thumbs on each paw, I want to say.
Whoa, that's cool.
But unlike some cats, it wasn't arranged in a way that was like a pain in the ass. It was just sort of like extra space, basically. And that cat could open doors and stuff like that because it had a lot of gripping ability, which was fun. Cool. Also, a pretty smart cat. Like, a lot of cats are crafty enough, but in comparison to the other cat we had a summer where we discovered that he was allergic to both fleas and flea medication. So we needed to start keeping him inside. And at that point, he was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old, I think. He lived to be like 18-ish. But like that was when we had to start keeping him inside, and we closed the window. There was a window in the converted drug house that we lived in that went to some stairs they had built down the side of the house to get away from cops. And the cats would use those stairs to go up and down off the roof. And so the window in my parents' room was like the cat's entry point and exit point to the house. And they closed that window when we had to deal with that stuff. And he would walk up to it and like tap on the window and then walk away and see if it was like gonna be open this time. And the other cat would run full strength through as much of the house as she could and then just slam her entire body into the window and fall on the floor and then like walk away. And that was really the inflection point of realizing how stupid that cat was.
It's good that you had you had the whole spectrum there of cat intelligence. That's funny.
That cat was good though.
Most cats are pretty good.
Yeah, most cats are pretty good, even if they're not always good.
Yeah.
Most cats are good and assholes simultaneously.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Unless you're like some of the cats my friends have that are hairy footballs.
Footballs?
Yeah, they're just like a partially deflated football covered in hair. Like the fattest, like cats that have butt cheeks. Like you don't even want to deal with those things.
That can't be a real thing.
No, it's real.
It's the best image that's ever been in my mind. Cat with butt cheeks.
Well, I think we gotta go. I think our time's about up, and I just said cat butt cheeks, so I think we're done with the podcast.
I think it's time.
But jabbers, we've been through the bulk of 2 winters now, I think, with this podcast. So that's exciting. I'm trying to think of some new exciting things to do, and I'm hoping that when we get vaccinated, we'll finally be able to, have some bandwidth to do anything else.
Be nice.
We're kind of thinking of branching into some different types of videos and things for the future. So get your hopes up for 6 months from now.
Set a timer. Yay. Well, I hope everyone has a safe week. Stay away from the Capitol.
Stay away from the Capitol and stay away from anybody with a Confederate flag.
Yeah. Good life lessons. Good life rules. All right. Be gone, thoughts.